Hello friends, I am Mr. Sunil Gaikwad, working as lecturer in Sweris College of Engineering, Pandharpur. Today we are going to learn new topic related to physics, that is circular motion. In this topic we are going to cover the following points, that is circular motion, what is meant by circular motion, its examples, then angular displacement, centripetal force, its properties and examples, then radial acceleration, relation between linear velocity and angular velocity, then relation between angular acceleration and linear acceleration, centrifugal force, its properties and examples, banking of road, its definition, necessity of banking of road, expression for angle of banking and maximum velocity, then conical pendulum, its definition, expression for time period of conical pendulum, then vertical circular motion under Earth's gravitation, then kinematical equations for circular motion in analogy with linear motion and some MCQs. Let's start. Observe the motions shown in the picture. First motion is the motion of artificial satellite around the earth, then motion of giant wheel, then motion of athletes. Next picture shows the motion of planet around the sun. Next picture shows that the motion of cyclist along a circular track. All these motions represents the circular motion. Then what is necessity to study the circular motion? To understand the motion of planet, to understand the motion of electrons around the nucleus, to understand the motion of giant wheel, to understand the motion of space stations, to understand the motion of moon and satellite. All these examples exhibits the circular motion. How this circular motion takes place? To study the motion of these objects, it is necessary to study the circular motion. Let's start with its definition. Circular motion is defined as it is the motion of particle along a complete circle or part of circle. For circular motion, it is not necessary that body should complete a full circle. Even motion along arc of circle is also known as the circular motion. That is, circular motion is nothing but motion of particle along the circumference of circle is known as the circular motion. Now observe this picture. In this picture, particle is performing circular motion. The object is shown by star. What is the location of this object? Shown by star. Then object is at 90 degree or pi by 2 radian. Initially object was at this position on x-axis. In time t, it moves from this position and it reaches at this position, and it covers the distance equal to pi by 2, or it travels through distance 90 degree, and this distance is known as the angular displacement. Then what is the definition of angular displacement? Angular displacement is defined as the angle described by the radius vector or the angle traced by the radius vector. To understand the angular displacement, consider this figure. Here O is the origin of the circle, R is the radius vector. What is meant by radius vector? The vector starting from origin and it joins the position of particle on the circular path. That vector is known as the radius vector, or it is also known as the position vector. Initially particle is at position A. In time t, it moves from A to B. B is its final position. When particle reaches to the final position B, then this radius vector turns through the angle theta, and this angle theta is known as the angular displacement. When particle in a circular motion moves from A to B, At the same time, its radius vector turns through the angle theta, and this angle theta is known as the angular displacement. Then what is the value of angular displacement? To find the angular displacement, we have to use this formula. Angle is nothing but arc. Here length AB is known as the arc divided by length. Therefore theta is equal to, arc is nothing but S and length is nothing but R, radius vector. Here OB and OA are known as the radius vector. Therefore angle theta is equal to S divided by R, and this angle theta is known as the angular displacement. That is, S is equal to R theta. Here consider again this diagram. Initially particle is at position theta I, that is the initial position of particle. In time t it moves and reaches at the position theta f. Theta f is known as, is nothing but the final position of the particle. When particle moves to the final position, then its radius vector turns through the angle delta theta. Here arc length S is nothing but R delta theta. Therefore delta theta is equal to arc divided by radius, that is delta theta is equal to S divided by R. Here delta theta is a ratio of two lengths, that is S is nothing but arc and R is nothing but radius vector. These two are the lengths. Hence delta theta is a ratio of two lengths. Hence it is a dimensionless quantity, and this angular displacement theta is measures in radian unit and it is shown by symbol rad. If we go all the way around S, then arc length S is equal to 2 pi r. Then angular displacement theta becomes as delta theta is equal to 2 pi r divided by r gets cancels, then delta theta is equal to 2 pi. When particle completes one revolution along the circumference, then angular displacement is nothing but 2 pi radian, or in a degree it becomes as 360 radian. Then when angles are measured clockwise, then the measurements are considered as negative. When angles are measured as clockwise, then angles are measurements are considered as negative. When angles measured counterclockwise or anti-clockwise direction, then these angles are considered as positive. Here theta is measured in radian. When particle completes one revolution, then angle covered is 2 pi radian, or in angle it is in a degree it is 360 degree. Then right hand rule. What is meant by right hand rule? If the axis of rotation is held in right hand along the fingers curled around the axis, then these curled fingers gives the direction of the rotation and this thumb gives the direction of angular displacement vector. This right hand rule is used to denote the direction of the angular displacement vector. If the fingers of the right hand are curled in the direction of the revolution of the particle, then outstretched thumb gives the direction of the angular displacement vector. Now consider this example. Are the following motions are same or different? First, the motion of tip of the second hand of a clock, and second, the motion of the entire second hand of a clock. The answer is the motion of the tip of second hand of a clock is uniform circular motion, but the motion of the entire second hand of a clock is a rotational motion. Now question arises that what is the rotational motion? Rotational motion is nothing but it is the motion of a rigid body in which all particles of body performs the circular motion about the axis of rotation. That motion is known as the rotational motion. The examples of rotational motions are motion of top about its axis, motion of earth about its own axis. These are the motions of rotational motions. Then centripetal force. UCM is an accelerated motion. Why? Because UCM is accelerated motion because the velocity of the body changes at every instant. But according to the Newton's second law, there must be a force to produce this acceleration. This force is called the centripetal force. Therefore, centripetal force is required for circular motion. If there is no centripetal force, then circular motion is not possible. For circular motion, centripetal force is necessary. Velocity and speed in UCM. UCM is nothing but uniform circular motion. Hereafter, uniform circular motion is we can refer it by UCM. In UCM, is the speed changing? No, speed remains constant. Its magnitude remains constant. Is the velocity changing? Yes, velocity changing because velocity is a vector quantity and its direction changing at every point. Hence, in UCM, speed is constant but velocity changing continuously because velocity is a vector quantity and at every point its direction is different. In circular motion, its direction changing continuously. Then examples of centripetal force. Then what is the example of centripetal force? A body tied to a string and whirled in a horizontal circle. Then centripetal force is provided by the tension in the string. Earlier we have seen that for uniform circular motion, centripetal force is necessary. When body is tied to a string and it is whirled in a horizontal circle, then required centripetal force is provided by the tension in the string. For a car traveling around a circular road with uniform speed, the required centripetal force is provided by the force of static friction between tires of the car and the road. In case of electrons revolving around the nucleus, the centripetal force is provided by the electrostatic force of attraction between the nucleus and the electrons. In case of motion of moon around the earth, centripetal force is provided by the gravitational attraction between earth and moon. These are the few examples of centripetal force. Next, what is meant by centripetal force? It is the force acting on particle performing uniform circular motion, and this force is along the radius of circle and directed towards the center of circle. Then remember few points regarding centripetal force. Centripetal force acting on particle performing uniform circular motion. Centripetal force acts along the radius. Centripetal force acts towards the center of the circle. Then what are the properties of centripetal force? First is the centripetal force is a real force. Centripetal force is required to perform the uniform circular motion. Centripetal force acts along the radius. Centripetal force acts towards the center. Centripetal force does not do any work, and the magnitude of the centripetal force is given by F is equal to mv square divided by r. Next, radial acceleration. Consider particle is performing uniform circular motion in anti-clockwise direction. Let r is its radius vector. Initially particle is at position m. In a time t it moves to the position p, and its angular displacement is given by theta is equal to omega t. That is, in a time t the particle moves from position p to m and it its angular displacement is given by theta is equal to omega t. In order to find the expression for radial acceleration, we can use two methods. That is, first one is the calculus method and second one is the geometrical method. So we will go directly to its formula. The linear acceleration of particle at any instant at any time is called as instantaneous linear acceleration, and the radial acceleration is given by a is equal to r omega square, or a is equal to v square divided by r. This is the magnitude of radial acceleration. In a vector notation, this radial acceleration is given by a bar is equal to minus omega square r bar. Then question arises that why negative sign is introduced here. The negative sign in the above equation indicates that linear acceleration is always directed towards the center, and radius vector, it is in outward direction. The directions of both linear acceleration and radius vector are in opposite direction. Hence negative sign is introduced here, and radial acceleration, that is linear acceleration, is given by a is equal to minus omega square r. Then relation between linear velocity and angular velocity. The relation between linear and angular velocity is given by linear velocity is equal to radius into angular velocity, that is v is equal to r omega. In a vector notation, it is given by v bar is equal to omega bar into r bar. This is the relation between linear velocity and angular velocity. Similarly, relation between angular acceleration and linear acceleration. Angular acceleration is denoted by alpha and linear acceleration is denoted by symbol a. The relation between linear and angular acceleration is given by a is equal to r alpha. Next, what is meant by centrifugal force? We have learnt about centripetal force. That is, centripetal force is nothing but it is the real force which acts towards the center of the circle. That force is known as the centripetal force, and centripetal force is necessary to perform the uniform circular motion. Now we are going to learn about the centrifugal force. Centrifugal force is an imaginary force, that is, it is pseudo force experienced only in non-inertial frames of reference, and this force is necessary in order to explain Newton's laws of motion in an accelerated frame of reference. Centrifugal force acts along the radius, but it is directed away from the center of circle, while centripetal force acts along the radius and it directed towards the center of the circle. But here centrifugal force acts along the radius, but it is directed away from the center of the circle. The direction of the centrifugal force is always opposite to that of the centripetal force, and the centrifugal force is given by m is equal to mv square divided by r. In a magnitude, both centripetal and centrifugal forces are same, while centrifugal force directed away from the center, while centripetal force is directed towards the center. This centrifugal force is always present in rotating bodies. Examples of centrifugal force. When a car in motion takes a sudden turn towards the left, passengers in the car experience an outward push to the right. This is due to the centrifugal force acting on the passenger. The children sitting in merry-go-round experience an outward force as the merry-go-round rotates about the vertical axis. These centripetal and centrifugal forces do not constitute an action-reaction pair. Centrifugal force is not a real force. For action-reaction pair, both forces must be real. Then, what is the banking of road? When a car is moving along a curved road, it is performing circular motion. For a circular motion, it is not necessary that the car should complete a full circle. An arc of circle is also treated as a circular path. We know that centripetal force is necessary for circular motion. If centripetal force is not present, the car cannot travel along a circular path and will instead travel along a tangential path. For circular motion of car, centripetal force is necessary. The centripetal force for circular motion of the car can be provided in two ways. First, frictional force between the tires of car and road, and second, banking of roads. Friction between tires and road. Suppose that for circular motion of the car, required centripetal force is provided by frictional force. Let m be the mass of the car, v is the speed of the car, and r is the radius of the curved path. Then required centripetal force is provided by the frictional force. Then equation becomes as centripetal force is equal to frictional force. Then we know that the formula for centripetal force, that is mv square divided by r, is equal to frictional force is given by mu mg. Here mu is the coefficient of friction between tires and road. Here m gets cancels, so equation becomes as v square divided by r is equal to mu g. That is, velocity is given by mu is equal to in square root of v is equal to in square root of mu rg. Thus, the maximum velocity with which car can be safely driven along a curved road is given by v is equal to in square root of mu rg. If the speed of the car increases behind this value, the car will be thrown up, that is, car will be skid. In order to maintain its circular motion, the car should travel along this velocity. If the car has to move at a higher speed, the frictional force should be increased, but it causes the wear and tear of tires. The frictional force is not reliable because it can decrease on wet roads due to the rains or when oil falls on the road from moving vehicle. So we cannot rely on the frictional force to provide the centripetal force for circular motion. In order to move the car safely along the circular path, the best way is the banking of road. This picture denotes the friction between tires and road. If friction between tires and roads is less, then there is possibility of skidding of cars. Next, banking of road, or what is the banking of roads? The process of raising the outer edge of an road over the inner edge through a certain angle is known as the banking of road. In order to avoid the skidding of car, banking of road is necessary. Then, purpose of banking of road. Banking of road is done in order to provide the necessary centripetal force for circular motion, in order to reduce the wear and tear of tires due to friction, in order to avoid the skidding of car, in order to avoid the overturning of vehicles. To avoid this all, the banking of road is necessary. This is the picture of banked roads. What is the banking angle? The angle made by the surface of road with the horizontal surface is known as the banking angle. Here theta is the banking angle. Banking angle is nothing but it is the angle between the surface of road with the horizontal surface is known as the banking angle, and it is denoted by letter theta. And this banking angle is given by tan theta is equal to v square divided by rg, that is theta is equal to tan inverse of v square divided by rg. This is the banking angle. Theta is equal to tan inverse of V square divided by Rg. Therefore, the angle of banking is independent of the mass of the vehicle, and this banking angle depends upon the velocity of vehicle and radius of the curve and acceleration due to gravity. The maximum speed with which the vehicle can be safely driven along the curved road is given by Vmax is equal to in square root of Rg tan theta. With this maximum velocity, one can safely driven the car along the banked road. Here R is nothing but radius of curve, theta is nothing but banking angle, g is nothing but acceleration due to gravity. If banking is not done, then one can move the car with maximum speed, that is v is equal to in square root of mu rg, where mu is the coefficient of friction. Now let's solve this example. Observe this picture. A car travels at a constant speed around two curves. This is one curve, this is second curve. Where is the car most likely to skid? Phi. A car travels at a constant speed around two curves. Where is the possibility of skidding of car? Phi. We know that in first curve radius is 33 meter and second curve is small and radius is 24 meter. We know that in order to move car safely along the curved path, centripetal force is necessary, and this centripetal force is given by F is equal to mv square divided by R. That is, centripetal force is inversely proportional to the radius of the curve. Here in a second curve radius is small. In second curve radius is small, hence centripetal force will be more, and because of more centripetal force, car will be safely driven along this curve. Hence, car travels at a constant speed around a second curve, and in first curve there will be possibility of skidding of car. It is because of radius of curve. Centripetal force is given by F is equal to mv square divided by R, and this centripetal force is inversely proportional to the radius of the curve. In second curve radius is small, hence more centripetal force will be generated, and which keeps the car to driven safely. Next, conical pendulum. What is meant by conical pendulum? The conical pendulum is shown in this diagram. What is meant by conical pendulum? It is different from the simple pendulum, because simple pendulum performs the oscillations back and forth, but this conical pendulum performs the horizontal motion and its string performs the cone. Then what is meant by conical pendulum? Conical pendulum is a simple pendulum to which motion is given so that its bob describes the horizontal circle and the string describes the cone. Here conical pendulum doesn't performs the back and forth motion. Instead of back and forth motion, it performs the horizontal motion and its string describes a cone. Now let's find the equation for time period of conical pendulum. Consider a bob of mass m revolving in a horizontal circle of radius r. Let v be the linear velocity of the bob, h is the height and t is the tension in the string, theta is the semi-vertical angle of the cone, g is the acceleration due to gravity, and l is the length of the string. L is the length of the string. Here is the L is the length of the string. Then time period of the conical pendulum is given by t is equal to 2 pi in square root of h divided by g, and velocity of the bob is given by v is equal to in square root of rg tan theta, where r is the radius of the circle. The period of the bob is also known as the period of the conical pendulum. here cos theta is equal to h divided by L. If we put the value of the cos theta in this equation, t is equal to 2 pi in square root of h divided by g. From this equation, h is equal to L cos theta. Then equation for period of conical pendulum or equation for period of the bob of the pendulum is given by t is equal to 2 pi in square root of L cos theta divided by g. Then factors affecting time period of the conical pendulum. If we consider its formula, then we can find out the factors affecting on the periodic time of the conical pendulum. First one is the length of the pendulum. Length of the pendulum affects the period of the conical pendulum. Second, angle of inclination to the vertical. This angle affect the time period of the conical pendulum. Next, acceleration due to gravity, g acting on that pendulum. This time period is independent of the mass of the bob. If we observe this formula, we can say that periodic time depends upon the length of the pendulum, angle of inclination, and third one is the acceleration due to gravity. And this periodic time is independent of the mass of the bob. Next, vertical circular motion under the Earth's gravitation. Vertical circular motion under the Earth's gravitation. This motion is similar to हे एक्झाम्पल कशाची सिमिलर आहे. एखाद्या बादलीमध्ये आपण पाणी घेतो आणि ती बादली आपण वर्टिकल डायरेक्शननी फिरवतो. मात्र असं करताना त्या बादलीमधलं पाणी मात्र सांडत नाही, स्पिल आउट होत नाही. मग त्या बादलीची पोझिशन कुठली का असेना, दॅट मोशन इज सिमिलर टू द वर्टिकल सर्क्युलर मोशन. मग हे बादलीमधलं पाणी का सांडत नाही, प्रत्येक पॉइंटला त्या बादलीची वेलोसिटी काय असू शकते ते आपल्याला ह्या आर्टिकलवरनं समजू शकतं. त्यासाठी आपल्याला हे आर्टिकलचा स्टडी करणं खूप गरजेचं आहे. कन्सिडर अन ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ मास m tied to the end of an inextensible string and reeled in a vertical circle of the radius r. At highest point A, if an object reaches at position A at highest point A, in this case we know that for circular motion centripetal force is necessary. If an object reaches at the highest point A, then forces acting on the object at point A are tension T1 which acts in downward direction and weight mg, it also acts in downward direction. Thus required centripetal force for circular motion is provided by weight of the object and partly provided by tension in the string. Then equation is given by T1 plus mg is equal to centripetal force, that is m v1 square divided by r, that is T1 is equal to m v1 square divided by r minus mg. Now consider the lowest point. When object is at lowest point B, then what are the forces acting on it? Then forces acting on the object at point B are tension T2 which acts in upward direction and a weight of the objects which acts in downward direction. Then equation given by T2 minus mg, because tension and weight of the object both are in opposite direction, therefore T2 minus mg is equal to centripetal force, that is m v2 square divided by r. Here T2 is equal to m v2 square divided by r plus mg. Then linear velocity of object at highest point A. The object must have a certain minimum velocity at point A so as to continue in circular path, and this velocity is known as the critical velocity. If the velocity of the object is below the critical velocity, then string becomes slack and the tension T1 disappears, that is T1 is equal to 0. Here tension T1 becomes a 0, therefore equation becomes as 0 is equal to m v1 square divided by r minus mg, and finally finally velocity becomes as v1 is equal to square root of rg. This is the linear velocity at the highest point A. This is the minimum velocity at point A, that is v1 is equal to square root of rg. If object fails to maintain this minimum velocity, then the string will become slack and there is centripetal force will disappear and circular motion will not possible. In order to maintain the circular motion, the object must have this minimum velocity, that is v1 is equal to square root of rg. This is the linear velocity at the highest point A. If the velocity at highest point is less than this, then object cannot continue the circular object and string will become slack. So in order to maintain the vertical circular motion at highest point, object should possess the velocity equal or greater than square root of rg. If it is less, then circular motion will not possible. Then find out the linear velocity at point B. Suppose particle is at position B, then in order to find its linear velocity at position B, we have to consider the law of conservation of energy. That is, total energy at point B is equal to total energy at point B is equal to total energy at point C. Then total energy at point A is equal to total energy at point B. Then kinetic energy at point A plus kinetic energy at point potential energy at point A is equal to kinetic energy at point B plus potential energy at point B. Here we have kept all these value. Here at point B, potential energy must be 0. Therefore equation becomes as v2 square is equal to v1 square plus 4rg. Therefore at the highest point A, minimum velocity was v1 square is equal to square root of rg, and at lowest point B, the velocity becomes as v2 is equal to square root of 5rg. Therefore velocity of the particle is the highest at the lowest point and it is the lowest at the highest point. If the velocity of the particle is less than this, then it will not complete the circular path. Now find out the linear velocity at point C. For this also we have to consider the conservation of law of energy, that is total energy at point B is equal to total energy at point C. Therefore kinetic energy at point B is equal to kinetic energy at point C plus potential energy at point C. Here potential energy at point B, it is 0. Therefore if we put all these value and solve, then finally we will get the velocity at point C, that is v3 is equal to square root of 3rg, and this expression gives the velocity of the body at point C. From this it is clear that at point A, that is at highest point, the velocity of the particle is given by square root of rg. At the lowest point B, velocity of the particle is given by square root of 3rg, and at point C, the velocity of the particle performing vertical circular motion, the velocity is given by square root of 3rg. Next point is kinematical equations for circular motion in analogy with linear motion. We know that kinematical equations for particle in a linear motion which is uniformly accelerated are given by v is equal to u plus at. This is first kinematical equation. Then s is equal to ut plus 1/2 at square. Then third equation, v square is equal to u square plus 2as. We know that here v is equal to final linear velocity, u is equal to initial linear velocity, a is equal to acceleration, linear acceleration, and t is equal to time period. These kinematical equations in linear motions are analogous to the circular motion, and these analogous equations are given by omega is equal to omega 0 plus alpha t, theta is equal to omega 0 t plus 1/2 alpha t square, omega square is equal to omega 0 square plus 2 alpha theta. इथे लिनियर मोशन मध्ये फायनल अँग्युलर वेलोसिटी ही v ने दाखवली जाते, तर सर्क्युलर मोशन मध्ये फायनल अँग्युलर वेलोसिटी ही ओमेगा ने दाखवली जाते. इथे लिनियर मोशन मध्ये इनिशियल लिनियर वेलोसिटी u ने दाखवली जाते, तर सर्क्युलर मोशन मध्ये इनिशियल अँग्युलर वेलोसिटी ओमेगा 0 ने दाखवली जाते. लिनियर मोशन मध्ये लिनियर ॲक्सिलरेशन a ने डिनोट केला जातो, तर इथे सर्क्युलर मोशन मध्ये ॲक्सिलरेशन हे अँग्युलर ॲक्सिलरेशन असते आणि ते अल्फाने डिनोट केलं जातं. लिनियर मोशन मध्ये डिस्प्लेसमेंट हे s ने डिनोट केलं जातं, तर सर्क्युलर मोशन मध्ये डिस्प्लेसमेंट हे थीटाने डिनोट केलं जातं. त्यामुळे सर्क्युलर मोशन मध्ये कायनेमॅटिकल इक्वेशन्स आर गिवन बाय ओमेगा इज इक्वल टू ओमेगा 0 प्लस अल्फा t, theta is equal to omega 0 t plus 1/2 alpha t square, omega square is equal to omega 0 square plus 2 alpha theta. That is, kinematical equations in linear motions are analogous to the kinematical equations in circular motion. Then we will see some multiple choice questions. First one is the direction of the angular velocity vector is along. Options are the tangent to the circular path, next the inward radius, next the outward radius, and next the axis of rotation. The answer is the axis of rotation, because the direction of angular velocity vector is along the axis of rotation. We have seen the right hand rule. The direction of the angular velocity, direction of the angular displacement, direction of angular acceleration is given by the right hand rule, and these directions are always along the axis of rotation. Next, if stone is tied with a string and is rotated in a circle horizontally, when the string suddenly breaks, the stone will first tangential to the motion, away from the center, towards the center, none of the above. When the string suddenly breaks, ज्यावेळी ती स्ट्रिंग सडनली ब्रेक होते त्यावेळी त्या स्टोनची डायरेक्शन ही अलॉंग द टँजंट टू द सर्क्युलर पाथ असते, त्यामुळे फर्स्ट ऑप्शन हे त्याचा आन्सर आहे. नेक्स्ट, two particles of equal masses are revolving in a circular paths of radii r1 and r2 respectively with the same speed. The ratio of their centripetal forces. First option is r2 by r1, next in square root of r2 by r1, next r1 by r2 bracket square, next r2 by r1 bracket square. To find this answer, we have to write the formula for centripetal force for two particles. If we write the formula for centripetal force for first particle having radius r1, then formula becomes as F is equal to m v square divided by r1. For second particle, the formula becomes as F is equal to m v square divided by r2. If we divide these two equations, that is f1 divided by f2, then answer becomes as r2 divided by r1. Hence first option is the answer. Next, the angular speed of flywheel making 120 revolutions per minute is 2 pi radian per second, 4 pi square radian per second, pi radian per second, and next one is the 4 pi radian per second. We know that to find the answer of this question, we know that when particle completes in one revolution in a circular path, then it completes 2 pi radian, and in degree it covers 360 degree. Okay, here we have given 120 revolutions per minute, and we have to convert into radian per second. We know that 120 revolution means in a radiation it becomes 120 into we know that one revolution is nothing but 2 pi. Here revolutions are 120, that is 120 into 2 pi radian, and here time is given in a minute. If you have converted into second, that is 60 seconds. So divide 120 into 2 pi by 60. If we solve this, then answer becomes as 4 pi radian per second. Next MCQ is, if a particle moves with a constant angular velocity in a circle, if particle moves with constant angular velocity in a circle, then during the motion is momentum is conserved, energy is conserved, both energy and momentum is conserved, and last one is the none of the above is conserved. Then answer is the energy is conserved. If a particle moves with constant angular velocity in a circle, then during its motion energy is conserved. Next, a stone tied to a string is rotated in a circle. If the string is cut, then stone flies away from the circle because a centrifugal force acts on the stone of its inertia. A centripetal force acts on the stone, the reaction of the centripetal force. The answer is of its inertia, because due to the inertia property, the stone tried to continue its circular motion, but if the string is cut, it flies away from the circle. It is due to the inertia property. Next, what could be the reason of a car moving on a horizontal road gets thrown out of the road while taking a turn? Option is due to the reaction of the ground, due to the rolling frictional force between tire and road, by the gravitational force. Last one is the due to the lack of centripetal force. The answer is the due to the lack of sufficient centripetal force, because we know that in order to move on a horizontal road, if we want to continue its motion, centripetal force is necessary. If centripetal force is absent, then the car will be thrown out of the road. Next, a motorcyclist going with a constant speed in a circular track has linear velocity is constant. Next, constant acceleration. Third one is angular velocity is constant, and last one is the constant force. A motorcyclist going with a constant speed in circular track has constant angular velocity. It is the correct answer. Next, a car is moving a turn at speed v. The radius of the turn is r and the centripetal force on the car is f. If the car rounds the same curve at speed 2v, the required centripetal force is, then required centripetal force is 1/2 f. Second option is f, third one is 2f, and last one is 4f. The answer is 4f, because a car is making a turn at speed v, the radius of the turn is r and the centripetal force on the car is f. If the car rounds the same curve at speed v, the required centripetal force is 4f, because we know that the centripetal force is given by f is equal to m v square divided by r. If velocity is double, then required centripetal force becomes 4 times, because कारण त्या फॉर्म्युलामध्ये f इज इक्वल टू एम व्ही स्क्वेअर डिवायडेड बाय आर आहे. v चा स्क्वेअर आहे. जर आपण v ची किंमत 2v ठेवली तर स्क्वेअर करून किती येईल तो 4v स्क्वेअर, म्हणजे सेंट्रिपिटल फोर्स किती बनणार आहे, इट बिकम्स द 4 टाइम्स. हेन्स करेक्ट आन्सर इज 4f. नेक्स्ट, a simple pendulum of mass m and length l stands in equilibrium in a vertical position. The maximum horizontal velocity that should be given to the bob at the bottom so that it completes on revolution is. A simple pendulum of mass m and length l stands in equilibrium in a vertical position. the maximum horizontal velocity that should be given to the bob at the bottom so that it completes in one revolution. The options are in square root of Lg, next in square root of 3Lg, in square root of 5Lg, next in square root of 2Lg. The answer is in square root of 5Lg because the bob is at the bottom. We know that when particle performing when particle is performing vertical motion, then its velocity is given by in square root of 5Lg. So this is the answer. So thank you for listening and watching of this video. Thank you very much.